My mother-in-law framed me for theft and ruined our family dinner. Chapter 1. The Invitation. The summer sun shone brightly through the kitchen window as I chopped vegetables, my thoughts drifting to the upcoming dinner. It was the first time David and I were hosting his family in our new home, and I wanted everything to be perfect. David, ever supportive, had taken charge of the main course, leaving me to handle the sides and dessert. We had been married for just over a year, and while David's father and siblings had always been kind and welcoming, his mother, Elaine, was a different story. She was critical and distant, her disapproval of me barely concealed behind polite smiles. I saw this dinner as a chance to change her mind, to show her that I could be a wonderful wife to her son and a valuable member of the family. Chapter 2. The Dinner Begins. As the doorbell rang, I wiped my hands on a towel and went to greet our guests. David's father, Richard, and his sister Lisa arrived first, carrying bottles of wine and laughing at a shared joke. They hugged me warmly, their excitement genuine and infectious. Next came David's younger brother, Michael, with his girlfriend, Emily, both of whom greeted me with friendly smiles. Elaine arrived last, her entrance as grand as always. She stepped into our home with an air of superiority, her eyes scanning the room as if evaluating every detail. I took a deep breath and welcomed her warmly, hoping to make a good impression. "Elaine, I'm so glad you could make it. Please come in." Dinner started off well. The conversation flowed easily, and everyone seemed to enjoy the food. Richard complimented David's cooking, Lisa shared funny stories from her recent travels, and even Michael and Emily contributed with anecdotes and laughter. I felt a sense of pride and relief, thinking that perhaps this evening would finally mark a turning point in my relationship with Elaine. Chapter 3. The Accusation. As we were finishing up dessert, a chocolate cake I had spent hours perfecting, Elaine suddenly stood up and announced that her bracelet was missing. It was a beautiful piece of jewelry, an heirloom that had been passed down through generations. Panic set in as everyone started looking around, checking under tables and cushions. I could feel Elaine's eyes on me, a cold, accusing stare that sent shivers down my spine. "I remember taking it off and placing it on the counter when I washed my hands," Elaine said, her voice sharp. "It was right there, and now it's gone." Everyone turned to look at me. I felt my cheeks flush with embarrassment and anger. "I didn't see it," I stammered. "I've been busy with dinner. Maybe it fell somewhere." But Elaine wasn't convinced. She crossed her arms and glared at me. "Are you sure you didn't take it? It's a valuable piece. It wouldn't be the first time someone tried to steal from me." Chapter 4. The Search. David tried to calm his mother down, insisting that we would find the bracelet. But Elaine was relentless. She insisted on searching the entire house, and everyone followed her lead. I stood there feeling helpless and humiliated as they rummaged through our belongings. Elaine's inspection was thorough and invasive. She opened drawers, peeked behind curtains, and even checked the trash. I watched in horror as she upturned our neatly arranged home. The final blow came when she reached the coat closet in the hallway. She opened the door and gasped. There, sitting on the top shelf, was her bracelet. She turned to me with a triumphant look. "Care to explain how this got here?" Chapter 5. The Fallout. I was speechless. I had no idea how the bracelet ended up in the closet. David looked at me with confusion and disappointment. "Sarah, did you—" he began, but I cut him off. "No, David, I swear I didn't take it. I don't know how it got there," I said, my voice trembling with emotion. Elaine shook her head, a smug smile playing on her lips. "I always knew you were trouble," she said. "You may have fooled my son, but not me." The rest of the evening was a blur. The guests left quickly, and David and I were left alone in the silent, tense house. I tried to explain to him that I was innocent, but he was torn between believing me and trusting his mother. The incident created a rift between us that seemed impossible to bridge. Days turned into weeks, and the tension between David and me grew. I couldn't shake the feeling that Elaine had set me up, but I had no proof. Every time I saw David, his eyes held a mixture of hurt and doubt that broke my heart. Chapter 6. The Revelation. One evening, as I was cleaning up the living room, I found a small piece of paper tucked under the couch. It was a receipt for a locksmith dated the day before the dinner. My heart raced as I pieced together what it meant. Elaine had a spare key made. She had access to our home. I confronted Elaine with the receipt the next time she visited. Her face paled, and she quickly tried to snatch it from my hand. "Where did you find that?" she demanded. "In our living room," I replied, my voice steady. "You had a spare key made, didn't you? You planted the bracelet in the closet to frame me." Elaine's eyes narrowed, but she didn't deny it. "You don't deserve my son," she hissed, "and I will do whatever it takes to protect him." Chapter 7. The Confrontation. I showed the receipt to David, and after a long, emotional conversation, he finally believed me. We confronted Elaine together, and she eventually admitted to her scheme, though she refused to apologize. "I did it for you, David," Elaine said, tears in her eyes. "I can't bear the thought of you being with someone who might hurt you." David shook his head, his disappointment palpable. "Mom, Sarah would never hurt me. You've done more damage than you can imagine. You need to leave." Elaine left in tears, and for the first time I saw the weight of her actions truly affect her. David and I decided to take a break from his mother for a while, focusing on rebuilding our trust and strengthening our relationship. It wasn't easy, but we grew closer through the ordeal. Chapter 8. The Healing. In the weeks that followed, David and I worked hard to heal the wounds that Elaine's actions had caused. We went to counseling, talked openly about our feelings, and made a conscious effort to support each other. The road to recovery was long, but each step brought us closer. We also had to address the situation with David's family. Richard, Lisa, and Michael were shocked to learn the truth about Elaine's actions. They were supportive, offering their help and understanding as we navigated this difficult time. Chapter 9. Moving forward. Months later, Elaine reached out to us. She wanted to apologize and make amends. David and I were hesitant, but we agreed to meet with her. Over coffee, Elaine expressed her regret and asked for forgiveness. "I'm sorry, Sarah," she said, her voice breaking. "I was wrong. I let my fear and protectiveness get the better of me. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me." I looked at David, who nodded slightly. "It's not going to be easy, Elaine," I said softly. "But we can try, for David's sake." Chapter 10. A New Beginning. Rebuilding trust with Elaine was a slow process, but over time we managed to establish a more respectful and understanding relationship. She worked hard to show that she had changed, and while things were never perfect, they were better. David and I emerged from the ordeal stronger and more united. We learned valuable lessons about trust, family, and the lengths some people will go to protect their loved ones. And while my relationship with Elaine may never be flawless, I learned to stand up for myself and fight for my place in our family. In the end, the incident that nearly tore us apart brought us closer together, teaching us the importance of honesty, forgiveness, and resilience. My mother-in-law framed me for theft and ruined our family dinner. In this gripping and emotional tale, Sarah's dream of hosting a perfect family dinner is shattered when her critical mother-in-law, Elaine, accuses her of stealing a valuable family heirloom. As suspicion and tension rise, the missing bracelet is found hidden in a place only Elaine could have accessed, exposing Sarah to humiliation and causing a rift in her marriage with David. Determined to prove her innocence, Sarah discovers evidence of Elaine's deceit, revealing a plot to frame her. The confrontation that follows forces David to confront his mother's manipulations and stand by Sarah. Together, they navigate the fallout, seeking counseling and working to rebuild their trust and relationship. As Elaine eventually seeks forgiveness, the family must learn to move forward, teaching them powerful lessons about trust, resilience, and the complexities of familial love. This story of betrayal, redemption, and the strength of the human spirit explores the delicate balance between protecting loved ones and causing unintended harm.